Welcome back, everyone. We're going to do another market update here for you. We're going to look at March 2026 this time. We're going to be comparing it to how the sales were in March 2025. We're going to be looking at the real historical picture, what we're seeing moving forward. And sales activity has stopped falling. So flat year over year for the first time in a while. Spring market is showing up, which is fantastic. Listings are surging, prices are bouncing back, and inventory is tightening up, which is great. And we're going to talk about some massive new tax announcements, especially around the HST with new homes, that we're going to kind of break down for you a little bit today. Those that don't know me, I'm Sean Ryan with the Blue Coast team here at CB Southwest here in Sarnia-Lambton, and we've been doing these every year for the last 7 years. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to follow along and be kept up to date with all the new real estate news. So let's look at some sales activity first. 120 residential sales in March 2026, flat versus March 2025. We also had 120 there, and that's the first time in recent months we haven't seen a decline. The first quarter was down for the first 2 months, so it's nice to see it flat for once, but it's still down about 9.1% from March 2024, where we saw 132 sales and down from the peak of 189 sales in March 2021. But the trend line is really stabilizing. This is meaningful signaling back into that spring market, really. So single detached were leading to the recovery of the 111 sales, and that's up 3.7% from March 2025, and 107 detached homes where the demand is right now is what we're seeing. Apartment condos type sales, only 3 sales, so it doesn't really make a lot up of the Sarnia market. We don't have a lot of condo choices really. And year to date, we're at 272 sales. So that's down 9.3% from the same time last year with 300 sales. But I think the gap's narrowing. And I think as we go into the spring market, we're going to see it narrow more and more. So sales volume, we're at 63.7 million March 2026, and that's up 8% from March 2025 with 59 million. So that's a really healthy jump. But year to date, we're 131.7 million, and that's down 13.7% from last year on 152 million. And like I mentioned, those first couple months were pretty slow. The year to date gap really reflects a weak January, February. March itself was a much stronger month, really flat from last year. And I think as we go into April, it's going to be a really strong April compared to maybe April last year. So let's look at some new listings. We saw 321 new listings in March 2026, and that's up 13% from March in 2025 with 284 listings, and the highest March listing count since 2016. So it's really a 10-year high. So it's really giving buyers a really good choice, and then sellers are really coming out in force for the spring market, and most of them are buying something new, and a lot of it's going to be new home construction, I think. Single detached is 286 new listings, also multi-year high for March, which is good as well. So year to date, we're at 730 listings, essentially flat versus last year at 735. So the surge is really a March story. We're starting to see the market really change here in March. And what it means for buyers is they have more to look at than they have had in years, which is great. Choice is really healthy as well. So let's look more at some active inventory and where we're sitting in the Sarnia-Lambton market right now. We're sitting at 532 active listings at the end of March. So that's down 9.7% from March 2025 at 589, which is good. The inventory glut is starting to clear out a little bit, which is fantastic. And we peaked at 589 last March and now heading in the right direction. Still elevated versus 2022, where we saw 105 listings, and 2021 129. But the direction really matters here and what we're trying to see. Months of inventory is sitting at 4.4 months of inventory and down from 4.9 in March 2025. So we're starting to see that market tighten up as we go into 2026 more and more. And like I said, it's down from the 5.3% year to date. So trending towards more of a balanced, very healthy market. And for context, 4 months is technically a balanced market. So 0 to 3 months is a seller's market. 4 to 6 months is a balanced market. 6 months plus is that buyer's market. Sorry. So we're going in the right way. And our apartment segment's still oversupplied at 6.7 months of inventory. So the rental market actually is a bit of a tougher market right now, which is great for tenants. There's more choices. You can demand more. You can get better terms on your leases as well. And it's also forcing some of those not so good landlords to clean up their act a little bit or clean up their properties or maybe to price their listings more competitive, which is great. So let's look at pricing. The average price was 530,780 in March 2026, and that's up 8% in March 2025 with 491,000. I think again, that was we had some new homes start to sell finally, and that's the biggest year-over-year gain in a while. Prices are bouncing back as inventory glut eases, which is great. Median price 475, that's up 3.5% from March 2025 at 459. And the medium tells us the middle sale, less skewed by high-end deals, new home construction, lakefront deals that we have here in Sarnia. So let's let single detached, average price 545,000, that's up 7.6%. Medium 512, that's up 9%. Still recovering in the detached segment a little bit. Apartment average, like condo apartments, 318,000, down 28.5% versus last year. It's a very small sample size, so I wouldn't put too much stock into that. But year over date, 484,000, still down about 4.8% from last year. So still reflecting, I think, a really weak start to 2026. So where are homes selling? Let's look at some price categories and what's going on right now. Majority of the activity is in the 500 to 700,000 range, 49 sales. That makes up 40% of all sales right now in Sarnia-Lambton. So 500 to 600, 23 sales, 600 to 700, another 26 sales. Strong activity in that 300 to 500 price range, 38 sales combined. 300K to 400K, 17, 400 to 500, 21 sales. And then the upper end seeing action at 10 plus sales over 700,000, which is great to see finally, including 3 sales in the 1.5 to 2 million price range and 3 in the 2 to 2.5 million price range. So guessing some lakefront, some riverfront probably sold in there. Very little under 300K anymore, only 5 sales. Entry level, maybe there's some lots in there, some bank repos, some, stuff like that. Days on market and sales to list ratio are still pretty strong too. Medium days on market, 26.5 days, improved from 28 March 2025. So selling just a little bit faster, not too much to break home about. And then still well above the 7-day frenzy well in March 2021. And the sales to list price ratio, and this is to final price ratio, not so after maybe some price adjustments or something been done, 96.7%. It's only almost 97%, which is great. And it's pretty much the same from March 2025. So very stable. Buyers are still getting around 3%. They're still negotiating a little bit. And sellers are really getting pretty close to the asking price. So very, very healthy as well. And sale to new listing ratio, 37.4%. So that means how many houses sell versus how many are listed. So if 100 are listed, only 37% are selling right now. And it was 42% last March. So still below that balance threshold of 40 to 60%. I think you're going to see that pick up here as April starts to get going and the nice weather comes and stuff like that. I want to look at the most popular home styles right now to kind of break that down for you. Bungalows, 57 sales, average price 579,000. Bungalows are always the dominant market in Sarnia-Lambton. 2 stories, 15 sales, average 627. Those are usually bigger 2-story homes as well. 1.5 stories, 12 sales, average price 405,000. Coronation Park, Tree Streets, those areas, we're seeing a lot of those. Raised ranches, 9 sales, an average 543,000. Few of those were probably in Corona, very popular for the raised ranch. And side splits, 4 levels, 7 sales, average 523,000. So bungalows represent roughly about half of the sales in Sarnia, and they normally always do. And 2 stories are commanding like a really good premium, actually. A lot more people looking for those bigger 4-bedroom, 2-story homes. We're seeing them more and more popular right now. So I want to break down a couple different areas for you in Sarnia-Lambton and tell you how they're doing. So the Sarnia-Lambton core market was about 101 sales in March, averaging 532,000. So Sarnia North, 56 sales. And the most active area by far, average 520,000 almost, up from 470 last March. So that's good to see. Sarnia South, 20 sales, average price 48. So a very strong average price for the South End, which is really good. Point Edward, Lakeshore area, 11 sales, average 427. Definitely some premium neighborhoods. Sarnia East, 10 sales, 422,000. And then the Lambton areas, 3 sales, 710,000. A lot of new home construction probably in the Arrow Woods area. That's coming up with as well. Sorry. And then some market context, really looking at the big picture of what we're seeing right now. We're clearly see the spring market arrive, like we talked about, where sales are stabilizing, listings are up. Prices are going up too, which is good. I've been in a few bidding wars over the last month, and the inventory correction is underway, but not complete. 4.4 months is still above the historic Sarnia norm of 2 to 3 months of inventory. Actually, year-to-date numbers are dragged down by, like I said, the soft January, February, things were slow. March itself was much stronger. And as we go into April, it'll be very interesting to see what those numbers do. Bank of Canada, they're still holding that rate at 2.25%. Really held steady for the since October 2025. So it's been there for a while now. And then most forecasts are expecting the Bank of Canada to hold through most of 2026 with no major rate shock expected. I don't think the rate's going to change much for this year. I don't think there's any reason to for it for the most part. So here's the big policy changes that we talked about. And it has all to do around HST and new housing. So there's 3 programs right now for HST. There's the federal government one that got put into place mid-March. That got put in there is called BC26. And so how that works is the federal part of the HST on new home, you can get back that 5% only if you're a first-time home buyer. You can go back a year though and get that money back still. If you bought a new home in the last year as a first-time home buyer, there's some money on the table for you, which was really big. And that is huge savings for people on that one. There's also the provincial one that came in, I think in November. You can get the PST back. That's about 8%. That's only first-time home buyers as well. And I think that's, you can go back to November, October. We have to double check on that one. And then the big one is the HST on all new home construction for first-time buyers, secondary buyers, and some investors qualify for this. Is it's not like just as easy as just taking 13% off the purchase price, but for a home up to $1 million, you could be about $130,000 in savings. So this really changes the new home construction market, but it also makes you think it's crazy how much taxes are on a new home because the builder also paid the HST on that home when they paid for all the trades and all the services and everything that going into the home. So I've been really busy with new home construction talks. It's really brought prices down. Like we saw some listings that were, almost 1.1 million that have been brought down under that million threshold. I know some people are thinking who can afford that these days, but people are, especially people that are moving up. So if you're moving from like that first time home buyer house and moving up, great opportunity right now. There's some really great incentives from the banks as well right now. And builders are offering some great incentives too, like appliance packages, extra landscaping, stuff like that as well. So again, like I said, the bank rates are holding well. We're seeing the market go really well. So fixed rate mortgages, though, we're starting to see them slightly tick up a little bit. So keep an eye on those. And a lot of mortgage renewals coming up in 2026. So over 1 million Canadian households are renewing their mortgage in 2026. Many locked in at that sub 2% rate back in 2021. So we're starting to see those 4.5, 5-year terms now coming up. So it'll be interesting to see how people react to that and how the market's going to react to that. Do I think we're going to see a lot of foreclosures? Probably not. Canada is really responsible. We had a stress test for mortgages years ago, and this is why we did the stress test. So that's like if you got a mortgage at 2%, they're actually pre-approving you at 5 or 6%, let's just say for easy math, to make sure you could afford that. But the question is, have people paid down their mortgages, or if they took on a lot of debt and they're looking to refi that in and they're not going to have any equity left? I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm seeing mixed reviews on that right now, and we'll have to see how that all plays out. National average sale price in February 2026 was $663,000. So that's down just 0.2%. So 0.2% year over year. So very healthy market as well. I'm going to put a bunch more in the blog right up here if you want to read and keep going. So what's this mean really right now? Is the market shifting? Sales are stabilizing, prices are up, inventory is improving. Spring 2026 is looking to be very active. This was a really harsh winter this year, probably the worst winter I've had in 10 years. Personally, I don't mind winter because I like to ski, but we're starting to see a lot of those buyers kind of pop their heads up now and are looking to do something that was kind of maybe sitting on the sidelines. Anyone looking to read in their mortgage 2026, get ahead of it. Don't wait. They can lock your rate in for a while. Also, banks are very hungry for that switch business. You got to remember back in, I think it was December, they got rid of the stress test on a switch. So you have a lot of different options. You're not stuck with your bank. Shop it around, see what rates you can see what points you can get, see what stuff you can be looking at right now. So thanks for watching. Reach out if you ever have questions or if you ever want to talk about the market. Welcome home to the Blue Coast. And don't forget to put shot on your line.